Mrtyoर्muक्षीयमामृतात्. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Yambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukamiva bandhanat mrityormuक्षीयमामृतात्. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Yambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukamiva.
Good afternoon, all of you. Let us chant the prayers on page number 7 and 8 together. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Go to page 49 in your prayer book. Page 49. All the strength and sagor you want is within yourselves. Therefore, make your own future. Let the dead past bury its dead. The infinite future is before you, and you must always remember that each word, thought, and deed lays up a store for you, and that a bad thought and bad works are ready to spring upon you like lion. So these are the words spoken by Swami Vivekananda, and here Swamiji is stressing on or expressing his ideas on thought and actions. So when we have good actions, good thoughts in our mind, we develop good habits and we end up doing good actions. Similarly, when we have a wrong idea, it misleads us or misguides us. So initially or by nature, we are sufficiently energized to complete each activity of our life successfully. That is of all of us are made up of. But sometimes we feel that we don't have that effort or intelligence or whatever is required to complete that work successfully, and deters or it becomes a hurdle in doing our duties well. So here Swamiji says, when we have a thought which is wrong or which is bad, it definitely stops us from moving further. So to overcome this wrong thought, we have to constantly tell ourselves, in fact, that we have sufficient energy, we have sufficient power within us, which helps us to do our work successfully and lead a happy life. So to illustrate this point, how a wrong thought can stop us from achieving our goal, I would like to narrate a small anecdote. So there is a man and he is walking, and while walking he is supposed to cross a forest. He has to walk through the forest for 20 kilometers. And he starts his journey. Initially he is very enthusiastic and he starts walking fast. After 4 kilometers he feels thirsty. So he drinks some water which he has along with him and resumes his journey. After walking for 4 more kilometers, he feels hungry. He eats something and by now he is tired. He walks slowly for further 4 kilometers. So he has walked for 12 kilometers and he has to walk further 8 kilometers to complete his journey. At this point, he is exhausted and he feels that he cannot move forward, and he takes rest under a tree. While relaxing, he starts thinking, what next? What should I do now? Because his body was not helping him to move forward. He was exhausted and he cannot go back because even that for that he has to walk for 12 kilometers. So while these thoughts were going on in his mind, he hears a rustling sound from behind and he just turns around to see. So when he turns back, he sees a tiger behind him. It is ready to pounce on him. On seeing the tiger, he immediately jumps and starts running without turning back or without looking back. And within no time, he crosses that 8 kilometers easily. So this is an example of a wrong thought. So while walking, he thought that or he felt that he was exhausted and he sat and took rest. And again the thought was telling him that he cannot walk further and this thought was stopping him from moving. But when he saw the tiger, immediately he started running and he could complete those 8 kilometers. So he had that energy within him, but he could not realize it, or that wrong thought stopped him from realizing it. So such things happen to us also in our life, not only in profession, in our personal life, in our day-to-day activities also. After some time, we tend to lose patience or we tend to lose our concentration and we feel that, okay, let it go. So at that point, we should tell ourselves that we are strong and God has given us equal energies and every activity which is in front of us we already have that energy to fulfill it. That is how we are all made up of. So if you look into this page again, Swamiji says, so also there is the inspiring hope that the good thoughts and good deeds are ready with the power of 100,000 angels to defend you always and forever. So when a wrong thought stops us from doing an action, similarly a good thought or a positive thought or a correct framework mindset definitely helps us to do the things in the right way also. So to illustrate this point, again I would like to narrate a small anecdote. It's a story about a father and two sons. So the father is quite irresponsible. He's a drunkard and he is addicted to alcohol and he has two sons. So he doesn't fulfill any responsibility which a father is supposed to do. And days pass on and these two boys grow up into young men. And after reaching a certain age, both of them are completely different. They are opposite in their ideas and ideologies and their way of mannerism. So the elder son, he ends up being a drunkard like his father, and he also was leading a similar life which his father was leading. Whereas the younger one, he is completely different. He is quite responsible. He's successful professionally, and he was leading a life which was different from his brother and his father. So they had a neighbor, and his neighbor was observing his father as well as these two boys since childhood. One day he called the two men, the boys, now they are men, and then he asked them, I have a doubt. I have been observing you since childhood and both of you are completely different. How could you be different? Because they were under the same circumstances, same situation, and they were brought up by the same father. So the elder brother says, I followed the footsteps of my father. I was just doing whatever my father was doing, and this is how I am. Whereas the younger one says, I just kept a thought in my mind that whatever my father is doing, I should never do it. So that made me do things, and that made me what I am today. So this is the power of a single thought. So he did not motivate himself, he did not think, he did not meditate, he did not tell anything to him to do good or anything. Such thoughts were not there in his mind. Only one thought, that he should not do what his father was doing and he should not end up like him. So that thought made him do all correct things. So that is the power of a bad as well as a good thought. The wrong thought stops us. In the similar way, a good thought or a positive thought helps us to move forward in our life. So these are the words of Swami Vivekananda, and here he is clearly stressing on the importance of thought. How a bad thought stops us, similarly a good thought helps us. So try to think about it So it is useful in our language learning process also, in whatever activity do in our life. So when we keep such things in mind, that helps us when we face a situation similar to this. So try to remember it and motivate ourselves and do things in the right way. So this is what I wanted to share with you all. Thank you for listening. Have a great evening.